In the last video on patterns of evidence, the Exodus, we talked about David Rohl's attempt to undermine conventional Egyptian chronology. However, in his attempt to redate Egyptian chronology by 300 years, he has to claim that the Biblical Shishak was Egyptian king Ramesses II. Let's look at his argument on this episode of Ancient Egypt and the Bible. One of the foundations of David Rohl's argument in the Patterns of Evidence, the Exodus film, is that the Biblical Shishak was not Shoshenq I, but King Ramesses II. If you like these videos and wish to help this channel, please hit that subscribe button and leave a comment. It feeds the algorithm. And if you wish to support this channel financially, please consider becoming a Patreon member or by purchasing my forthcoming book. Please use the affiliate link below. Okay, today's controversy revolves around the identity of Shishak, king of Egypt, that is identified in 1 Kings 11:40, 14:25, and 2 Chronicles 12. David Rohl suggests that Shishak was not Egyptian king Shoshenq I, but Ramesses II. In doing this, Rohl lowers the date of Ramesses II by 300 years. This is the linchpin argument that Rohl uses to redate all of the ancient Near Eastern chronology. And without this argument, the rest of Rohl's proposals fall apart to dust. So let's set the stage for the argument. Rohl states that the Biblical Shishak had an alliance with Jeroboam, king of Israel. According to his conquest records at Karnak, Shoshenq I attacked cities in the northern kingdom of Israel, which was ruled by Jeroboam, his supposed ally. Therefore, Shoshenq I couldn't have been allied with Jeroboam. Thus, Shishak can't be Shoshenq I. On the surface, this might sound compelling, but his historical argument is exceptionally weak. So Rohl pursues a linguistic argument as support. Rohl observes that the name Shoshenq has the letter N, but Shishak does not. This is actually a fair point. Consonants are often preserved when conversions are done from Egyptian to Hebrew languages. Rohl then states the Egyptian nickname of Ramesses II, as found in Papyrus Anastasi I, is Sisu. He also claims that Hittite was a Semitic language that converts the letter S to the letter Sheen, which is an SH sound, sh, as in shake. So Sisu is converted to Shishu. Hebrew is also a Semitic language. Therefore, Hebrew does the same conversion. Shishu and Shishak are so close that Ramesses II must be the Biblical Shishak. And Jewish scribes only changed the last letter of Shishu to make a play on words. Therefore, Ramesses II must be dated to 300 years later. That's Rohl's argument. Unfortunately, Rohl has distorted several facts to make this hypothetical conversion work. 1. If Jewish scribes changed the last letter of Shishu to Shishak, why is this somehow more reasonable than Shoshenq dropping the letter N to make Shishak? If one character is arbitrarily changed after making a convoluted linguistic argument that changes 2 other letters, Rohl's objection of the missing N loses all merit. A simple translation from Shoshenq to Shishak is more reasonable. In short, Rohl cannot object to one letter being out of place, then change 3 others. 2. Rohl intentionally or incompetently misspells the nickname of Ramesses II in Papyrus Anastasi I. The nickname of Ramesses II is Sesi-Su, not Sisu. If we take Ramesses II's actual nickname into account, Rohl's Shishu is impossible. This is a mistake that wouldn't have been made by a first-year student of Egyptian hieroglyphs. 3. Hittite is not a Semitic language, but an Indo-European language. This makes Hittite as relevant to Hebrew as Japanese. 4. Unlike Hittite, which only has a letter Sheen but no S, Hebrew has both a letter S and a Sheen. Enough vocabulary was borrowed from Egyptian into Hebrew that we know that Hebrew converted Egyptian S's to Hebrew S's, and not to the letter Sheen. 5. The name Ramses, with its letter S's, is attested in Hebrew 5 times in the Pentateuch. And in no way does this word undergo Rohl's hypothetical conversion. 6. Even if Jewish scribes had adopted the nickname of Ramesses II as the king who attacked Judah after Solomon, this in no way proves that this attacking king was the original Ramesses II, or that Ramesses II must date to 300 years later. Rohl's non sequitur conclusion does not follow from the premises. Showing the presence of a name in a later text is not sufficient to demonstrate that the person to which the name belongs should be redated. Alternative reasons, including metaphor and allegory, could explain why a name found in the past could be used at a later date. This is just sloppy reasoning. 7. And finally, in his conquest annals, Ramesses II attacked the city of Beth-Shemesh, which is also a city in the northern kingdom of Israel. So, if Shoshenq I wasn't Shishak because he attacked the northern kingdom of Israel, then, by Rohl's own criteria, Ramesses II is even less so. There is simply no way that Ramesses II was the biblical Shishak. We aren't just dealing with the dates for Ramesses II and Shoshenq I, but also all the associated biographies. Each king was associated with hundreds of officials and courtiers. With Rohl, the reigns of Ramesses II and Shoshenq I overlap. This means we have the biographies of hundreds of royal officials, hereditary governors, princes, and viziers, all overlapping in a great big mess. Rohl's theory that Ramesses II was Shishak makes absolutely no sense. Anyway, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and see you next time on Ancient Egypt and the Bible.